review sheet B functions. These are not the actual questions on the review sheet, but there are some similar questions, and so if you go through the video it will help you to answer the questions on the review sheet. The first ones are looking at simplifying composite functions, and you have to do that in 1b and 2a, but you also need to do it on other places on the review sheet as well. So we've got simplifying fg of x and also simplifying gf of x, and the two are different to each other. For fg of x, you need to find f of g of x, so you're finding f of 3x plus 5. Now that means that we need to replace the x here by 3x plus 5 in brackets, so you get 3x plus 5 all squared minus 4, because f is squaring a number and taking away 4, so you're squaring 3x plus 5 and taking away 4. Next stage is to expand the 3x plus 5 all squared, so you're going to square the 3x to get 9x squared. You're going to do 2 lots of the 5 times the 3x, 30x, and 5 squared. Then we've also got the minus 4, so the final answer is 9x squared plus 30x plus 21. For gf of x, that's g of f of x, so it's g of the x squared minus 4. Now g is multiplying by 3 and adding 5, so you multiply the x squared minus 4 by 3, and then you add 5. So that's 3x squared minus 12, add 5, 3x squared minus 7, so obviously different answers. Sketching inverse functions, which you have to do in 1c. I'm not going to actually do an example here, but just how you do it is you draw the dotted mirror line y equals x. So draw y equals x, the dotted line, and then you reflect the curve in that line. And be very careful about where the curve and the reflection cuts the line and where your reflection cuts the axes. Try and make sure you get those parts correct. The next thing is looking at finding inverse functions. So you have to do that on 1D, 2C, 3D, 3F, and probably other places as well. So the first thing is to finding out whether the inverse functions are defined or not. Now, if we look at function f, you'll see that it's a quadratic. And the trouble with a quadratic is it's a many-to-one function. Now, that means that, for instance, if I took x as 5, then x squared is 25, take away 4 is 21. So if I get x as 5, then my f of x, my y value, will be 21. But if I take x as minus 5, then when I square minus 5, I again get 25, take away 4, 21. So that means that x equals minus 5 also gives f of x as 21. So the values 5 and minus 5 both come to the same value, 21. Now that means it's a many-to-one function, so f to the minus 1 wouldn't know whether to take 21 to 5 or minus 5, so it's not defined. Many-to-one functions, then the inverse is not defined. G, on the other hand, is a linear function. Linear functions, so it's a one-to-one function, so g to the minus 1 is defined. The inverse, all you need to do is where you see a y you put an x, where you see an x you put a y. So x equals 7y minus 4, then rearrange it to make y the subject. If x is 7y minus 4, add 4 to both sides, x plus 4 is 7y, divide through by 7, y is x plus 4 over 7. So that means that g to the minus 1 takes x to x plus 4 over 7. Domain and range. Find the range, and again it's a quadratic, so you need to be careful. Now to do this, you're going to want to sketch the quadratic, and it's easiest if you complete the square. If you complete the square first, that will help you to do it. So, to complete the square, we're going to divide that by 2, and you're going to get x plus 3 all squared. Because when we expand that, you're going to get x squared plus 2 lots of 3x, that's your 6x, but also you get another plus 9, so we need to take that 9 away, and we've got plus 17. So that becomes x plus 3 all squared plus 8. Now if we think of it, check it by expanding. X squared, 2 lots of 3x, 6x, plus 9 plus 8 is the plus 17, so it is working. Now the vertex here is going to be changed the sign here to minus 3, 8. So your vertex is at minus 3, 8. We've got a sketch here of it, and the key thing that you're looking at is that the minimum point you're going to get to is minus 3, 8. So whereas the x can take any value, the y values are greater than or equal to 8. Notice it does include the 8. So the range is the f of x greater than or equal to 8. Now for the next one, you've got g is taking x to 4 over 3x plus 5. Notice x cannot equal minus 5 over 3, because if it did, 3x would be minus 5, and minus 5 plus 5 is 0, so you would end up with going to 4 divided by 0, which is not defined. So you've got to exclude the x equals minus 5 over 3 from this function. Right, find g to the minus 1, state to domain and range. So to follow the inverse, as before, wherever you see a y, you put an x, and wherever you see an x, you put a y. So it becomes x is 4 over 3, y plus 5. Now we need to rearrange it to make y the subject. So the first thing is you multiply across x times the 3x plus 5, and that equals 4. Expand the brackets, 3xy plus 5x, again equals 4. Take the 5x away from each side, you're left with 3xy equals 4 minus 5x, and then divide by the 3x, y is 4 minus 5x over 3x. So, g to the minus 1 takes x to 4 minus 5x over 3x. The domain, look at what can't occur. Here you couldn't have x as minus 5 over 3. Here you cannot have 0 on the bottom, so x cannot be 0. For the range, to get the range of g to the minus 1, look at the domain of g. Now the domain of g, you weren't allowed x as minus 5 over 3, so again you've got to get rid of the minus 5 over 3, but this time it's not going to be x is the range of g to the minus 1, so the range is g to the minus 1 of x, g to the minus 1 of x cannot equal minus 5 over 3. Next part, and it's like in question 4, but you do them in earlier questions. So in this case, you're told what f of x is, and you're told g of x is 2x plus k, and you don't know what k is. And so you've got to solve fg of 4 equals 70. Now notice you only need to find fg of 4, you don't need to find fg of x. So we do this by saying, what is g of 4? G of 4 is 2 lots of 4 add on k, so it's just 8 plus k. Fg of 4 is f of 8 plus k. So all you do is wherever you see an x, put 8 plus k in brackets. So it's going to be 8 plus k squared, take away 2 lots of 8 plus k, add 7. And that is equal to 70, because you're told fg of 4 is 70. Now I'm not going to do this next part for you. You're actually going to need to finish the question by expanding this. Be careful, here you're going to do your 8 squared, 2 lots of 8 times k, and your k squared, and here be careful because it's minus 2 times both parts. It's minus 2 times the 8 and minus 2 times the k, so do be careful when you expand it. Expand the brackets, solve the quadratic equation to find the values of k, and so you know what you should be getting in this particular case, which is obviously not the one on the review sheet. You should get k is 1 or minus 15. Well, I hope that helps you to answer the review sheet. Good luck.